All right, guys, a little bit out of order from what was promised as far as the order of reviews, but I figured I would do a review on my Gen 4 Glock 19 today. Glock 19 is an excellent little pistol. I'm sure everyone knows that. It's no surprise. There's a million reviews out on the Glock 19, but having said that, this one's mine. I've done a few little tiny modifications to it just to bring it up to par with my standards as far as sighting and trigger pull. And other than that, it's bone stock. There's no aftermarket internals. Just a few really basic things that I actually did myself. So without further ado, let's kind of enter into this thing. So this is a Generation 4, but it is a newer Generation 4 Glock version because there was a few different little rolling changes they had to make and implement to improve reliability and quality. So once again, this is a hot pistol. We have it loaded. You can tell by looking. You can see a little bit of brass right there, and you can feel the extractor actually stands up slightly. I don't know if you can see that right there. So, but as you can see, I use it. Got wear on my barrel hood. It's got holster wear. It's got all that good stuff. So let's unload this bad boy so we can take a look at it. There's my Spear Gold Dot Plus P 124 grain. They're excellent rounds. Just like I said in the M&P Shield review, man, these things treat me right. They shoot accurately out of both of these guns. I've had really good luck with them. I've done a few little tests with them just to see as far as penetration and expansion. So, and of course, if you want really good information on that, TN9 Outdoors has some really good stuff. So does Shooting the Bull and his 9mm ammo quest. Excellent series of videos. Go check them out. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the actual gun itself and why I like it. So, standard factory Glock 19 magazine, 15 rounds. Good stuff, right? Okay. So, now for the one in the chamber. There we go. I'm not making it up. It actually is what I said it is. All right. So, no magazine in the magwell, and no ammunition in the barrel. All right. All right. Something you can see off the bat. I have some Ameriglo like Hackathorn edition straight type sights like this. So what's really nice about them is you have that phosphorescence orange front sight post with the tritium insert made by Trigicon. And then it also has that rear notch with no dots, no 3-dot, nothing like that, just a tritium insert on the back. So during the daytime, you pick up that front sight, you just put it right in that rear notch, bam, there you go. At nighttime, I just simply acquire my sights, stack the 2 dots, and I'm dead on it. So it's very fast, it's very easy, and I'm really good to go on my lateral windage as far as that's concerned with this version. I actually find it easier to acquire faster than the 3-dot versions because it's less to actually line up in your vision. So as soon as this thing comes on plane, you're there. I put those in myself. Easy day, nothing to it. Just knocked them in. And what I did, which you guys are familiar with Glocks, the front side is easy because you just literally screw it in there and make sure it's lined up straight. But the rear sight does have a dovetail, just like most combat pistols. And what I actually did was, once I set it in there, I got a little bit of green Loctite, which is the temperature rated stuff, because I carry this all times of the day. If it's ever in my vehicle, it gets really hot and stuff like that. So a little bit of green Loctite, and I just put a drop right here, and I let it kind of actually soak in there, and it literally sucked it up inside of this dovetail and did the same thing right there. So I put a drop and a drop, and I mean, it did not move. And the way I lined up this rear sight was using the firing pin channel. So I removed my little back cover here and then pull the spring cups and striker and and all that assembly out of the gun, and then you can literally line up this dot very easily with the hole all the way through, where the striker actually comes onto the face of the not the bolt, but the breech face. So anyway, it makes it really easy to line that thing up. I mean, you can just eyeball it and put it on there, and I've taken it about to 25 yards and had excellent results with it. So good to go there. The Generation 4, I really like the texture on the grip. It's a vast improvement over the Generation 3. You do have the interchangeable back straps, which is nice. I don't use them because it gets a little bit fat for me, and the hump on the back of the Glock really just kind of hits my hand weird, and I don't like it. So the thinner the better, and it just keeps the profile nice and slim and trim, and saves on weight. So I don't really have any issue with it. The way that I compensate for having a little bit of a thin grip, make sure it is empty, is I don't know if you guys have ever watched anything Pat McNamara puts out, but he's a retired Delta Force operator, great guy, cool dude, but I really have found his advice on shooting the Glock version of pistols to be extremely helpful. Instead of really trying to use the center pad of your finger, I just go with as much index finger as I can get on that thing. I mean, I'm way up to the actual first joint, maybe even a hair past it on the safety lever. So I'm way in there. You can almost come back, and once you pull the trigger, you can almost touch the magazine release button, and it actually shoots straighter for me that way. When I use the traditional middle of the pad, I'll actually tend to push my shots left. I have pretty good flinch control, and I don't really shoot low and left like most right-handed shooters. I've been shooting a long time, and they don't really scare me when they go off anymore, and I don't get that surprise flinch or anything like that. So I don't shoot low left. I was just, in the manipulation of this trigger, I would just actually push that shot to the left because of the force I'm exerting on the pistol, and then whenever the trigger would break, it would just come left. So it wasn't like I was jerking the gun, it was just breaking, and then the gun was moving to the left. But whereas if I follow Pat's technique, and I mean, he gives credit to where credit's due, the fellow who explained that to him one day before, when this was a new platform to him, but I can't remember who it was. But just get that finger all the way in there, and for some reason you can just pull straight back into the rear easier. It's really weird, but it works, I promise. I've had good accuracy results out of this gun with the 124s. It'll shoot 115s really well. I know I was saying that my M&P Shield doesn't really like 115s too much. I mean, it's plenty good enough for just range blasting and practicing and stuff like that, but the 124s are a big improvement for the Shield, whereas this will eat the 124s, 115s, and 147s all about the same. Point of impact will be a little different, but it'll shoot them all, and shoot them all pretty darn straight. But this thing shoots 124s pretty much point aim, point impact to 25 yards all day long, all week long. So it's good stuff. Having said that, let's take a look. Oh, one other thing. Right here. This hits me funny. So whenever I grip this pistol, this knuckle on the right, strong side middle finger, that thing just hits me weird. And I know it's recessed in here a little bit, but I wish it was recessed more. And that's something that a lot of guys send these guns to aftermarket shops for, to have some custom work done. That's something I'm probably going to do. And get a Dremel tool and put it on a slower setting so that you don't melt the polymer. You just put it on a slower setting so you're just removing material. And I might make a video of that and remove a little bit of that and kind of do a relief cut and see how that works out for me. I mean, it's not going to hurt the value of the gun. A lot of people are modifying their Glocks and stuff like that. I don't plan on selling it anyway, so I'm just going to do that and see if it brings up comfort for me. And this thing does kind of tend to point high, and maybe if I relieve that a little bit, it might kind of bring that down some, because it does have a very European grip angle compared to the Smith & Wessons and 1911s and stuff like that. So Having said that, the finish on the gun is great. It's very durable. I mean, I've just beat it all the heck and back, and I mean, it's got a few little minimal scuffs, but nothing to write home to mom about. A little bit of wear on the barrel hood, but that's just good, honest shooting is all that is. So let's take this bad boy apart and take a look at the springs and the recoil spring and guide rod. Okay, so standard Glock. All I did, and I don't know if you guys can see it a little bit, I was talking about the modifications that I did. One was the sights, and the other was just I polished these parts. So I polished the top of that bad boy, polished the little dimple right there, polished the actual sear surface, did not remove any material, did not put a file on it. Literally just a tiny bit of flitz, and that's it. Spent a grand total of about 15 minutes on it. Polished my little safety, my striker safety plunger, just polished it, that's it. And then just polished the surface of that guy right there, my actual striker. So other than that, no modifications. It did help the trigger pull a little bit. I think if anything, it did not change the weight, just made it a touch smoother. That's about all. So if you shot it 500 or 600 more times, it would probably do the exact same thing. So, but I mean, hey, it took 15 minutes. So there's your captured recoil spring and guide rod. And it does soften the recoil. I have a buddy who's got a Gen 3. We've shot them side by side with the same ammunition. It does soften the recoil. I don't care what anyone says. It's not like some revealing moment of revolution in your mind, but you can tell the difference if you shoot them side by side immediately one after the other. You can tell the difference. So, hey, cool, whatever. Now, the barrel, standard Glock barrel, all factory, nothing magical or voodoo about it. Polygonal rifling, good stuff, man, good stuff. It really is. It seals good, gets good velocity. Chamber's nice and clean, nothing. All I ever do is just pull a bore snake through it. I don't do anything crazy. Put a little bit of lube right here because that's one of the main lockup points on these guns. And you can see that front sight installation right there. Just reassemble this bad boy real fast. So it's really easy. I'll tell you what, guys, if you ever watch YouTube videos and you laugh at people who struggle with putting things together and doing stuff on video, it is actually much harder than you think it is when you're doing it around a camera. Like, there's a camera in front of me, and this is all really weird. It's really crazy. You should try it sometime just for the heck of it. But anyway, so that's that. It's the upper half. And now we got our polymer frame, right? Pretty cool stuff. These bad boys are molded in, unlike the Smith & Wessons and some of your SIGs and stuff who have a pinned-in chassis. This bad boy is permanently in there, and you can see the wear on those rails. I've definitely used it. And this is one of the upgrades, one of the rolling change upgrades I was talking about. If you see the ejector here, and you see the shape of the ejector, that's the new version, and it makes the reliability increase. Let's see if I can, yep, right there. So the 30274 version of ejector is the upgraded one. If you have that one and you see how it's kind of got like a little curve to it like that, that is the upgraded one. That makes for reliable ejection. That's the one you want. You can talk to Glock and get that replaced. It's not a big deal. They know what the issue is. That's why they put the upgraded part in there. If you have that, that'll help you with a lot of your issues. And then the other thing was this little dimple actually was not there on the previous versions. So that creates increased friction right here in this channel. So right in here is where that thing runs. And that's why I polished that surface, and it smooths everything up a good little bit. It even smooths up your trigger pull, because when you're pulling your trigger, all that linkage is moving, as you can see. All that's moving. And it's moving in there on the inside of that slide. So your sear can move down and out of the way. So that creates a little bit of drag. If you just polish it up, man, problem solved. Nothing to it. Glock, you should really freaking reconsider that and fix it. I think the only reason they put the little dimple there is so that this bad boy would be centered on your plunger to be able to push it up perfectly straight every single time. I really think that's about all there is to it. There was nothing other than that to it, but it did increase the trigger pull a little bit. And I think that the Generation 3 guns do have a slightly better trigger pull straight from the factory. But this gets better with time. Every time you shoot it, it gets better, and you can do a little bit of polishing like I did and fix it. If you really, really are all about it, get you a 3.5 pound connector and it'll improve it. But right now, as it sits, mine's at about 6 pounds. So no big problems, no real issues, all good things, right? So standard Glock, 15 round magazines. The Glock 17 magazines also work in it for the 17 rounders. So do the 33s. You got all sorts of aftermarket availability for them. And the PMag, the updated Magpul PMag 9mm for Glock, it works great in this. I've got 3 of them, and they are flawless. They are all 100%. Probably ran 400 or 500 rounds through them. They're good to go. They just hang out of there just a little bit, just like a Glock 17 mag would. But hey, for a backup spare magazine, perfect. I like to use this one for the flush fit for carry. But my backup magazines, I normally like to run a little 17 rounder because, hey, it doesn't really make any difference for just a backup mag. You can see the actual bullet presentation in there. And then how the slide would strip it off and feed it into the chamber. Pretty interesting. Well, you know, when you take guns apart, you should take the time to kind of check things out, and you can see how the inner workings are put together, and it'll really help you understand functionality, and it helps you to diagnose issues when you do have them. So I highly recommend that. Everybody should, when you get a new gun, take that sucker all apart, look at the blown up schematic of it, the exploded view, and just really see how this thing's put together, you know, and then you can negate any issues you have when you do have them, if you have them, by simply understanding how the thing works in the first place, and you can diagnose things accurately very quickly. So that's the Glock 19 Generation 4 standard Glock reassembly. Put it right back on. There you go. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll be on there to answer anything like that. My M&P Shield review, I'm going to do some updates to, as well as this one. I haven't got a chance right now. I'm pretty busy to get to the range within this next week, but within 2 weeks, I'm going to edit these videos and add a little bit of a range session and bring you some targets to show you some accuracy. Maybe just some 7 and 15 yard shooting, and just take a look at them just to prove to you they are very capable. They're good to go. These are guns that you can trust your life to. Absolutely no questions asked. I do every day. So this serves as a bedside gun for me. My wife knows how to use it. There's nothing complicated to it. There's no, external safeties. It's just pick it up, point it in the direction in which you intend to fire, and fire. You got 16 shots when you got one in the chamber and a fully loaded magazine. So it's good stuff. This is a home defender for me. It's definitely worth a look. But guys, if you get a Glock, that's the #1 upgrade right there. Factory sights kind of suck. Like, there's no other way to say it. They're plastic. That's not a huge detriment to them. But if you're using them for home defense and you have to shoot in low light, it's really hard to pick those things up, man. Unless you have a weapon-mounted light and then you can see the silhouette of your sights, it's a pain in the tail. So I really highly recommend getting you some night sights. No doubt. If you find these things on a police trade-in with factory night sights that are still in good shape, thumbs up, bro. Go ahead and get you one. These things are good to go. Run 100, 150 rounds through them. Make sure they're reliable with your carry ammo, and you will not regret your purchase whatsoever. Glock 19 Generation 4 review done. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.